So finding your easy gear, your 30%, 3 out of 10, in that 80 to 110 watt range, keeping the RPMs nice and high, 90 to 105. And over the next 5 minutes, we will stay right here. But if you're starting at the 90 RPM, start thinking about moving those legs a little bit faster over the 5 minutes. Here we go. We have a nice long warm-up today, close to 30 minutes, where we will begin with a group ride, then we'll do some gradual load before we head out into our workout, which today is focusing on our maximum aerobic power. So that's our focus for today's workout. But for the next half an hour, we are going to prep our legs, our bodies, and our minds for the work ahead. It's too early for a quote so far. We'll see what we think as we launch into the main sets. So nice and easy here. 3.5 minutes to go for this first easy warm-up. Many of us find that it does take 20 to 30 minutes to really get the lactic acid through our legs, settle in, finding our heart rate when we first jump on the bike, we're spiked up a bit. We got perhaps some lactic acid flushing through our quads in particular. So right now we're just settling all that down. You can start your hydration now, little sips as we go. We don't want to get behind. Could be humid, depending on the weather outside. Or if you're cool, you might forget. 2.5 minutes to go. Let's do a quick upper body check-in. Make sure you're relaxed in your elbows, relaxed in your wrists. We are just gonna gently draw in our core, our power center. Not so much that you can take a punch, but just enough that you're in tune to your body here and you're able to direct the power down through your hips, your glutes, and into your big leg muscles. If we get a little too soggy, saggy, we have a funny angle for that power. Keeping those shoulders drawn down your back. It's a nice relaxed warm-up. 1.5 minutes to go. And then as a group, we will head out on the road. We will do 4 times through 1 minute at our 60%, plus 10 to 20 watts at 90 RPM. Then 1.5 minutes back to our 50% at 105 to 110 RPM. And we'll repeat that 4 times for a total of 10 minutes. So with 1 minute to go, let's bring our leg speed up to about 90 if you're not there, or bring it down to 90. Bring in your gear to about 50%. Just adding a tiny bit of load before we bring the rest of it in. So 90 RPM, 50%, settling in. We're leaving the studio all together here. We've got a no drop ride warm up before we get to the main efforts. So in 10 seconds, we're going to move our gear up to our 60% plus 10 to 20 watts. In 3, 2, 1. Bring in the rest of that gear. We're at 90 RPM. So you're just over your 60%, your 6 out of 10, just slightly over your all-day endurance pace. We'll go through this 4 times. So if you want to ease up to 20 watts over the next 4 efforts, that's perfect. So as a group, we're just hitting these tiny little rollers. We're up and over at this, and then we back off for 1.5 minutes. In 5 seconds, return to your 50% and your leg speed up to 105. 3, 2, 1. So you're backing the gear off, picking up your leg speed. At least 105 RPM, up to 110. See what you can manage here. So you're pulling quite a bit more gear off. And settle in. We're on a nice false flat, descending just a little bit. We get this nice turnover of our legs, keeping everything really snappy here, thinking about those circles. You shouldn't be feeling a lot of pressure on the pedals at this point. 30 more seconds here, then we're back up to our 60% plus 10 to 20 watts. So you'll bring the gear back up, slow the leg speed back down to 90. Couple of deep breaths. We're setting up. And 3, 2, 1. Bring in the gear, 60% plus 10 to 20 watts. Slowing the legs down to 90. 1 minute. At least 60% plus 10. If you want to start adding a watt or 2 over the next 3 intervals, that's great. If you're happy where you are, that's great too. The idea with our warm-up is to touch on some of the systems we'll be tapping into in the main workout, but not doing a main workout. Not yet. Just nice and steady. Think about those circles that your feet are turning. In 5 seconds, we're back to our false flat, our 50%. 3, 2, 1. 50%, 105 to 110 RPM. Let's pick up that leg speed. We are capturing a bit of recovery here. Enough time to catch your breath. And being up at this higher cadence output, which slightly exceeds our general range for our ideal cadence, we're getting a little extra recovery here with our legs moving just that much faster. Watch any bouncing. You still want to be nice and settled on your saddle. Nice athletic position with your arms. Slight bend in the elbows. And we're going for our 3rd incline here as a group. Let's stay together. We're moving up to our 60% plus 10 to 20 watts. In 3, 2, 1. Bringing it back up. Slowing the legs down to 90. testing out these legs this morning. Try to be 15 watts over your 60 if you can. And we'll all go for 20 watts for the final interval. Halfway through. Just looking up the road. This is a nice, comfortable pace at 90 with just a little extra load on your legs. Don't forget your core. It's a continuous self-talk. And back to our 50% in 3, 2, 1. Bringing the gear down, bringing the leg speed up. Here we go. Falls flat. Yeehaw. Feeling pretty good today. Getting these legs nicely flushed. Don't overshoot your 50% by too much. We really are looking for this recovery here. Thirty more seconds. Nice and steady. How fast are your legs going? And our final time on this slight incline. 3, 2, 1. 60% plus 20 watts if you've got it. 90 RPM. Bring it in. It's only a minute. Less than that now. Here, I really want you to think about your feet, feeling what they're doing. Coming through the bottom of that pedal stroke, up through the back. Our legs tend to know what they're doing when they get to the top of that pedal stroke. Pushing over the top and down. It's the through the bottom and back. That really counts. Hold on here. 15 more seconds. Then we're one more time at our 50%. Back to our false flat. 3, 2, 1. 50%, 105 to 110. For this last time through, see if you can be up at that 110. Overreach. When we work on our overreaching, it helps us bring up our all-day cadence. Maybe you're an 88, 89er, and you want to get to a 90, 91, 92, this is the way to do it. Bring up that leg speed. Come on, stay with it. Nice and easy on the pedals. Bringing that foot all the way around the circle. Almost there. Check back in. Are you at 110? If not, bring it up. Final 10 seconds. Give it a little extra. 3, 2, 1. You can back it right off. Back to that starting easy. Got 2 minutes here. I will suggest that we have a minute here at our easy, then bring our gear back to our 50% at the higher cadences so we can ease into the next portion of our warm-up. So catching your breath, a couple of deep breaths in through your nose, settle back down. We're managing our heart rate right now. When we recover our legs, we want our heart rate to recover as well. So we're ready to go for the next effort. And start bringing in some gear towards your 50%. We have one more minute here. So next we will work on our gradual load, beginning with a straight 2 minutes at our 60% at 90 RPM. And then we move up to 2 minutes at our 70%, do a little standing effort, and we'll go from there. So finding that 90 RPM right now. Quick body check. Are you ready? We're finding our 60% in 3, 2, 1. A slightly easier gear than where we were at in the first part. We're just at our pure 60%, 6 out of 10. If you were riding around Richmond or Langley, somewhere where it's fairly flat, this could be your all-day pace. You hold this for 6 hours, talk to your teammates or your friends, or talk to yourself. And I do strongly encourage talking to yourself. The reminders are so good. You think that a pro knows it all, but in their head, they're most likely cueing themselves for something, whether it's shoulders back, core in, drink every 20 minutes, eat, whatever it is. It's a constant talk. Just under a minute more here. What's your story today? I think my story today revolves around hydration. Not while riding, yes, while riding, but more importantly throughout the rest of the day. Keeping it up. In 15 seconds, we'll move our gear up to 70%, keeping your RPMs at 90. And 3, 2, 1. Move that gear up a little bit. You're at your 7 out of 10. Closing in on your functional threshold. More like your hour power, where you can ride at this level for an hour, but not much longer. Seven out of 10, 70%. Talking might be a little choppier. Maybe you have the good fortune to be riding with someone who likes to talk a lot, and then you can just listen. It's particularly beneficial on the hill climbs, having a chatty teammate. In 30 seconds, we will stand for the final 30 seconds at this level. Getting ready to ease up off your saddle in a nice fluid move. Not putting a lot of force on your arms, keeping your body still weighted over your saddle. Just trying to maintain this level. 3, 2, 1. Just look up the road. Don't worry too much about what your numbers are doing. Think about what your body's doing. You may bump that saddle with your legs a little bit, or your back end. You're nice and light on your bars. Still got that bend in the elbows. In 5 seconds, we're back to our 60%. 3, 2, 1, step back down. Take a little bit of gear off. 1 minute. 60%, 90 RPM. Let's get there. Everyone there? Got 30 more seconds. Then we're back up for 2 minutes at our 70 to 75% watts. Again with the last 30 seconds standing. So adding a few more watts from last time. 2 minutes. Coming up in 15 seconds. And 3, 2, 1. Bring up the gear. A little bit further than last time. 70 to 75%, 90 RPM. Settle in. Our hour power. Power being the optimal word. You've got it. Your legs have it. Settle in. Okay, re-engage. Engage that power center. Keep those shoulders down. Looking up the road. Nice work. Everyone looks very stable in the virtual world and in studio here. And in 30 seconds, we will stand. So nice and stable. Just that really nice up and over with the pedals. Really thinking about pulling through the bottom and up. Three, 2, 1, standing. Up off the saddle if you can. Just staying on this gear, looking up the road. We are utilizing this to stretch out our legs a little bit right now and just stay with our gear. And back to your 60% in 3, 2, 1. Final minute, 60%, 90 RPM. Bringing it home. We found the flats again, just for a little while. Let's join up with our group. We can nice and easy pace line. Everyone getting a bit of a break. Stay with me. My cadence is a bit higher than 90. I'm noticing. And back it right off. We have 3 minutes here before we move into the main sets. So take your minutes here to get some recovery, get some hydration. If your windows aren't open already, or your fans aren't on, get those set up. We have some work ahead. So today's focus, our maximum aerobic power, our MAP. Most of you have tested for that already. Those who haven't, this is the maximum wattage you can hold after working your way up from lower wattages for 2 minutes at 90 RPM. So it would be in and around your, we call it our 100% effort for the 2 minutes. 10 out of 10. We're building that system with today's workout. If you haven't done an MAP test, there is one up on the YouTube channel. Leslie Tomlinson has that outlined for everyone there to do that at home. All right, so the workout today. We have 2 sets. They're both 12 minutes long with a 4-minute easy in between. Our first set is 2 times through. It's a progressively declining or a less inclined slope, if you want to think of it that way. We start hard at 85% plus 20 watts at 90 RPM. Then we're a minute taking some gear off, 85% plus 10 watts at 100 RPM. And our third minute is back to 85%, maybe 85% plus 5 at 105 RPM. Then we have a minute and a half at our 60%, 90 to 100 RPM, and then a minute and a half just using cadence to increase those watts by 10 from that 60%. And we repeat that set before we get into our break. So we'll begin that in about a minute 15. Over time, doing these high interval sessions, high intensity interval sessions, you will notice an improvement in your MAP, be it slightly higher watts or greater endurance at these higher output numbers. So instead of being able to go for 20 minutes at your 80%, you can now go for 25. Lots to gain here. So let's start bringing some gear in. We are on in 20 seconds. Bringing the leg speed down to 90, bringing in some gear. We're on in just over 10 seconds, up at 85% plus 20 watts. We're hitting this one hard. 3, 2, 1. Bring in the rest of that gear. Get that leg speed up at 90. 85% plus 20 watts. It's not an easy start to this, but it's only a minute. Manage those gears. Now use that pedal stroke to your advantage. At these high outputs, that pulling through the bottom and up the back is crucial. Stay with it. Our next change involves taking gear off and increasing leg speed. Stay on it. Pulling up the back. And 3, 2, 1. 85% plus 10 watts, 100 RPM. Bit of gear off, picking up the leg speed. Come on. It's a hard transition. Don't let that gear fall too far. Come on. You got it. We're uncomfortably moving. Working on this maximum output. That ability to dig deep. More seconds. Then we're back to our 85% at 105. 3, 2, 1. Tiny bit of gear off. Leg speed up. 5 more RPM. Come on. Let's get there. Try to take no more than 10 seconds to get there. 105 RPM. Turn those pedals. Turn those pedals. Here we go. Ten more seconds. We get a bit of time in the back of the group. You're going to find your 60%. 3, 2, 1. Back it off a bit. 60%. 90 to 100 RPM. Don't let the gear fall below 60. Otherwise you've fallen off the back. And then you have to work so hard to get back on. Perhaps finding your RPMs closer to 90 so you have some leg speed left for the second minute and a half here, where we'll pick up our watts with our cadence. That's a minute. Just steady on, looking around. Make sure you know what's coming. In 10 seconds, we are simply increasing our cadence by enough RPMs to bring our watts up by 10. In 3, 2, 1. Bring those watts up. It may only be a few RPMs. And settle in. Minute and a half here. It's not a huge lift. For me, it was about 4 or 5, maybe not even that much. Minute to go. Then we're back to the top. This should seem not quite so shocking to the legs second time through. It's always hard, those first steep hills. Many of our local mountains have their steepest grades right in the first kilometer or two. And then the rest just seems like a reward, if you consider a lower grade climb a reward, which I do. 20 more seconds. Hold steady here. You're still 10 watts over 60 or 60%. But we are going to be finding that 85% plus 20 watts at 90 RPM. In 3, 2, 1. Bring in that gear, legs at 90. Hopefully you remembered where that place was from last time through. 1 minute. Bring it in. We're 15 seconds in. Should be well into this. What can those legs do? Stay with it. Halfway through. This is our steepest portion of this set. And then we're moving a little bit of gear off to 85% plus 10 and 100 RPM. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Little gear off, leg speed up. Don't let that gear fall too far. And bring it back if you've gone down below. Leg speed up, 100 RPM. Let that cadence do some of this work for you. Halfway through. That's it. Nice and steady up top. Remembering your power center. Talk to yourself. You got those shoulders back? Are you directing every ounce of energy through your hip girdle? Have to be engaged to do that. Come on. 5 seconds. Then we're at our 85% at 105. 2, 1. Little bit of gear off. Leg speed up. 105. 85%. You can exceed 85, but you can't go below. Come on. 1 minute. Less than that. 105. Set it and forget it. Look up the road. You know what this feels like. It's almost our turn on the back. We'll be back to our 60%. Just a little bit more. Stay with it. Doing great. Nice pull. And 3, 2, 1, 60%, 90-ish RPM. Don't pull too much gear off because you're also slowing your legs down. You may not even have to pull any gear off. Just slowing the legs down might get you to 60 or close. If you've overshot, bring it back. Another minute here. And then we have a minute and a half again, just bringing that RPM up a little bit to gain 10 more watts. So settling in here, 60%, 90-ish RPM, giving yourself some space. Again, deep breaths. Settle down your fight and flight. You want to prepare, always looking ahead. What are those shoulders doing? Keep them down. What are those elbows doing? 5 seconds. We're lifting our RPMs enough for 10 watts. 3, 2, 1. Just bring in a little more leg speed. Find those 10 watts. It might only be 3 RPM. 3, 2, 7 is probably typical for most across the range. The bigger your 60%, the less RPMs you need to get to 10 more watts. Under a minute, then we get our 4-minute descent, reprieve. Those are tricky sets, coming down and trying to not overshoot the reducing of the power while bringing up the leg speed. It's very different from going the other direction, where we are gradually slowing down our leg speed. It's much easier to gear into that. A lot more finesse, nuance to this one. But it's a skill you need to have, as when you're with a group, when those gear changes happen, so easy to get left behind. And back it right off. Nice work. That's 12 minutes. First set of the main workout. We've got 4 minutes here. Go down to your easy to start. Take a minute or so to catch your breath. Start bringing that heart rate down a little bit. Then getting in some hydration. It's important to hydrate and fuel as we go along, but it's much easier to digest and take in when we're not pushing quite so hard. We don't always have that opportunity. If you're out pushing hard for a longer period of time, you need to be able to drink and even eat a bit. But when we've got this chance, a little break is a perfect time. Three more minutes to go. So our second set, we will be exploring our MAP 6 times through, 45 seconds, right up at your MAP. That's your, basically your 10 out of 10, 90 to 100 RPM. Then we back off just to 60% at 100 RPM for a minute 15. This is not full recovery in between sets. This is going up to your 10 out of 10, coming back to your 6 out of 10, your all day pace. This is a reality set, more likely what you will face if you're doing these kind of intervals out on the road, or you've got a very pitchy little section of road where you're up and flat, up and flat, up and flat. It's important to be able to get back to that 60%. That is the key. If you cannot hold that 60%, then bring down the MAP number a little bit for the workout. You need to get back to that 60%. Try not to bog your legs down when you're up at that MAP. Try to aim for that 100 RPMs. It'll make the transition back to 60% perhaps a little bit easier. And you can put a little bit less gear on the higher your legs are turning. But you've got 6 times through to experiment with that. Just over a minute to go. Let's bring up some gear, find your 50%, and choose that cadence now that you're planning to launch at. I'm going to choose to be up closer to 100. Like many of us, I'm working on my cadence efficiency for my long rides, and this is one way to help. 30 seconds, bring in a bit more gear, moving up through your 60%, because we are heading right into MAP for 45 seconds. Take the first 10 to 15 to get to that number, and the remainder to hold. And 3, 2, 1, MAP. Let's go. Bring it up. And hold on. 30 seconds to go. You found that number. Hold on to that number. Do not let it start to decline. Stay with it. 10 more seconds. Then we're finding our 60%. 3, 2, 1. Back off a little bit. Try not to go below 60 or get it back there quickly. We have a minute 15. This is the hard part. This is the crux of this set. Yes, holding MAP for 45 seconds is challenging, but coming back to 60% might be more so. Should be around 100 RPM. Just get what you can from this. We're back on for number 2 in 20 seconds. So hopefully you know where that gearing is, so you can find it faster, ease yourself into it. Over the first 10 seconds, you have a much greater ability to hold than slamming right up. 3, 2, 1, up, up, MAP. Come on. Settle in. Just over 10 seconds in. Here we go. Hold on. Set that gear. Turn those pedals. Look up the road. Think about what your body's doing. Visualize. Don't look down. And 3, 2, 1, back to 60%, 100 RPM. Everybody there? Yeah. Hang on, just under a minute. So I want everyone to feel their pedal strokes and feel their body position. Don't look at it. If you look down, you're going to do an endo. We don't want that. Not when you're working so hard. Our body goes where our eyes go. We're going forward and up. 20 seconds, and we're heading into number 3. Again, thinking about that gearing and that RPM. Experiment between 90 and 100. Where can you settle in for 45 seconds? 3, 2, 1. Bring it back up. Ease up. And we're 10 seconds in. You're there. Now, think about what your body's doing. You can distract yourself. Put those shoulders down. Be light on your wrists. We can do that when we're inside. 3, 2, 1, 60%. Let's get there. Tucking in. We're halfway through. Come on, stay with the group. Like I said, this is the hard part. You might pull strong, but your pull doesn't end until you're safely on the back. 45 more seconds. All right, 20 seconds. Getting ready for our fourth effort. Use your matches wisely. You've got 3 more of these to go. Leave a little for the end. And we're up in 3, 2, 1. MAP, 90 to 100 RPM. Bring it up. Come on. 10 seconds in. Settle your body. Look up the road. And think about those circles. Pulling through the bottom, up the back. Through the bottom, up the back. Up and over the top. Just do the work. And it will reward you. Promise. And 3, 2, 1, 60%. Tucking in, out of the wind. Grab what you can here. You got a nice solid group in front of you, enabling you to be here at 60%. And not riding this whole 12 minutes at your MAP, which would be very hard. So using our matches wisely, what does that mean? Maybe you only started with 3 for an hour ride. Maybe you've burned 2 already. You have 2 of these left. I don't think we want to strike that last one until number 6. Knowing that you've got 2 or 3 solid outputs in you, use them wisely. Ready to go? 3, 2, 1. Up, up. MAP. 45 seconds. 90 to 100 RPM. We're 10 seconds in. Find it and hold it. You know what to do. You know what to do. Those legs will keep turning as long as you tell them to. Come on. Almost there. And 3, 2, 1, back to 60%. Quick, let's get back here. Catch on the back, out of the wind. We've got 1 more attack and 1 more sitting on. Now, you might use your last match. It's the perfect time for it. Finish strong. "30 more seconds. Look ahead, what's coming? We've got this final 2-minute stretch laid out in front of us. We can do it. Maybe you have MAP plus in this last effort. Give it your best. In 3, 2, 1. Let's bring it home. Up, up. MAP plus if you've got it. Keep that leg speed high. 90 to 100. We're 10 seconds in. Settle in. Push and pull. Push and pull. That's all you need to think about. The next 20 seconds. Come on. Right through. Burn that match now. Right through. We still have to get on the back. In 3, 2, 1, 60%. 1 minute 15. Stay with it. The team cannot cross the line without you. That would be a drag. Just whatever you've got. This is it. This is the hard part. Making those legs turn at what maybe doesn't feel like an all-day pace anymore. Just under a minute more. Nice. Nice and steady. Nice high cadence. We're coming right through here. Oh, what a beautiful finish. Really good work today. It was a very hard set number 2. But you'll notice that on your next few rides. And we cross the line. 3, 2, 1. Bring the gear right off. Down to that 30%. Keep your legs moving. If this were a descent, we want to keep the legs moving. We don't want to be in too high a gear. We just want to keep the legs flushing as easy as possible, even if there's very little pressure underneath your feet. I'd like everyone to stay for another 5 minutes at this level. We can do a bit of a cool down in a bit, but for our video, that's a wrap.